Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Render. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so within the major counts that we're looking for on the higher degree here, what we're looking for is we have this one, which is basically a very bullish count. It's saying that we have 1 2 1 2 1 2 and effectively another 1 2 here. Now, this is starting to become less likely unless we start to see price action looking to break to the upside. Now, we also need to be careful here because we could potentially just count this as a diagonal into this point, which we'll go over in a second. Now, within this idea here, what we'd be saying is that invalidation comes by crossing this 89 cents. And what we would say is that this is another one, and we're looking for this blue wave too. Now, the common support zone here would be this 164 to this 117. We'd be looking for a three-wave move to the downside, which is seeming to be what we're getting currently. And we have already come down into this 50%. So we need to start being careful that we could start to see price looking to move away from these levels. If, however, we fail to do so, we could still look for support lower down here. These 786 aligns quite nicely with coming back into this channel. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. Depending on how long this takes, this could also be something like this, where we see a three-way move up, in which case it might align with coming into this golden pocket area here, this 142 to this 137. Now, if we are looking to complete where we currently are, what I would be looking for here is the potential to see a third wave to the upside. Now, the third wave target would be this 1061, and we'd have to move up to this 1618 for this confirmation. Until we actually start to break these highs, so need to be careful of the more bearish situation here. We could be looking for that continuation to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this as a diagonal, what we'd be saying here is that internally we have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this would be our A wave or wave 1. Now, if this is the case, what we'd then be looking for would be the potential that we could still be looking for a bigger corrective move. Now, the problem is this does count quite nicely as a five-wave move here. You could potentially argue this is W, X, and Y as a B wave. It doesn't meet that minimum requirement. And if that's the case, effectively what we'd be looking for here would be a C wave to the downside. Now, if we are looking for a C wave, what we'd be saying is that this move is going to become 1, 2, and we're going to be looking for a bigger break to the downside. Now, within that idea, what we'd be saying is that the C wave would be looking for something along these lines, where this is 1, 2 here, and what we're looking for is this 1618 level here at this 101. Now, we don't have enough confirmation to say that this is what's playing out because this move is looking quite corrective locally. Now, if we are looking at something like this, what we'd then be saying is that we need to see something like an extension within these waves, where from further back here, what we have is a series of 1s and 2s. So if we are completed into this high here, effectively what we'd be looking at is the potential that this could be another 1, 2 here, potentially another 1, 2 here, and then we're starting to extend out in this third wave. So if we are looking at this idea of this extension, what we'd be saying is that we have this as a wave 1, and we are looking for the potential of a wave 2. Now, this move to the upside is also looking like a 5-wave structure. So what we could see is something along these lines where we see an A, B, C, and then we fail to break back above this 182, and we see something like this as a corrective pattern here, looking to potentially target out these higher levels of the 786 here at this 175. Now, if we see something like this, where this becomes 1, we get 2, and we start to see 3, 4, 5, we're going to have to be very careful that internally here we don't have a series of additional 1s and 2s, which could look to continue to push this down deeper, all looking for this idea of coming towards this $1, 1 cent. So going to be very careful with this one. Potentially we could look to have a move away from here, but until we actually start to take particularly this high at the moment, this 182, I'm going to be looking for that possibility that we could start to break down from this level. Now, if we do see something like this, this would align with that count where we could see this is a flat correction, and then we could look for that move to the upside. Now, other ways we discussed this in previous videos on this macro scale is that we said, we need to be careful within the bearish scenario here, that from further back, this could all be an A wave. This could just be W, X. We have this as A, B, and C to the upside. And then we could actually be looking for a C wave to start to form to the downside. So if we do form something like this C wave to the downside, where we start to get a 5-wave move, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we'd have to be very careful here that until we actually cross this high, we need to be on the lookout for just 3-wave moves up, and then that continuation to the downside, still looking for that idea of having a C wave come in lower down here. Now, as a C wave, what I'd be looking for as a potential target would be this 1-to-1 here at this 9 cents. Alternatively, the minimum requirement would be looking for this 35-cent area, which would be looking to bring us back into these zones. But ideally, what I would like to see is a break of the A wave low, if this is the case, in which case we would be looking for potentially around this 20 cents. So we need to be very careful with this one. This could look to start to break down from this level, but there are still potentials for some upside here. Now, the other way we discussed this is that this could be W, X, Y, and we could be just forming another X wave here, and this is just a more complex correction. So what this correction is a 3, 3, 3, 3, and then we'd look for another 3-wave move up. Now the common zone that would be looking for support here would be between this 0.382 and this 786. Now it is possible that these can look to fall short, so we have already hit that 236 higher up here. I'm just going to be monitoring this move. You know, if we start to see another 3-wave structure form to the upside like this, this could align with the idea of seeing this Z wave coming up towards us $6.11, which would align with coming back up into our channel as well. So going to just be on the lookout for this. The 1-to-1 of this previous X wave is actually sitting at this 99 cents, which would be aligning with that idea of coming back into that dollar. So if we fail to see this, you know, push to the upside here, we could still see that idea where we see another break to the downside here, look to find support on this channel and then looking for another push up. So within these two ideas here, what we are going to be discussing is the lower degree counts now. So like we discussed previously, you know, we need to be careful of this as being 1, 2, but at the moment, if we are looking at that bullish potential where this is 1 and 2, this move to the downside could possibly already be completed. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be saying is that this move down would be potentially a W wave. We'd look at this as actually an X wave into this position, and what we'd be looking for is the possibility that this is A, B, and C. Now, if this is the case, we have come down past that 0.786 of the W wave, so that has met the minimum requirement. We've also hit the 0.618 of this as an A wave higher up here of this move down, so this could technically be complete. So this is why we need to be a little bit cautious here, that if we form 5 waves here, we find support and we start to push away, this could actually be looking for a bigger 3rd wave. It is also possible we could see something like this as a 1, 2, we get another 1, 2 here, and then we look to push away. So as long as we continue to hold this low here, I'm going to be on the lookout for that possibility. We could start to form a breakout move to the upside. Now, like I said, we need to obviously be cautious of this idea of this being a 1 and a 2 here, where we could still see this move looking to break down, in which case what we could then be looking for, if we're looking at this idea of this being a bigger WX and a Y, is that this could rather be looking for these lower targets here of this 1-to-1, which would be this $1.40, this 1.236 at this 1.24, and this 1.382 here at this 1.15, which would align with coming back into this channel. But like I said, you know, if we are looking at this idea of this as a bigger A, B, and a C, if we start to cross this $1.18, it starts to become more likely that this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'd still be looking for that additional 4th and a 5th. So it's going to be very key here. You know, if we start breaking down into these levels, I'm going to be looking out for this potential of this 1618 move. But if we fail to actually hit that and we just stop towards this 1236 or into this channel, you know, possibly we could look for this just to be a bigger corrective move and then looking for that push up. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for with this move to the downside currently. Until we take these highs, we need to be careful of that continuation to the downside. Now, if we want to talk about that possibility of a break to the upside, which could look to invalidate that idea here of that bearish situation, what we would then be saying is more locally here, we're looking at this as potentially 1, 2, this becomes 3, 4, and 5. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be typically looking for here is the possibility that this then becomes a wave 2, and then we look for that continuation to the upside. Now, if we are looking at this as a possible wave 2, common retracement area would be between this 0.382 and this 786. Now, I have put this 0.382 on here just because it has good confidence with coming back up into these highs. Now, if we do see this move look to push down here one more time and we come back down into these levels, we need to be aware that this could actually just be 1, 2, and then we look to push to the upside, because sometimes within a wave 3, we can actually see shallow retracement. So I'm going to be very much on the lookout for this idea that even if we do see this move complete over here, it technically could have done enough as coming to that 0.236 already. So if we do start to form 5 waves up here and we hold support above this point, need to be careful of that. This becomes 1, 2, and this becomes another 1, 2, and then we start to look for that bigger 3rd wave to the upside. Or alternatively, this could also just become A, B, and C. So I'm going to be on the lookout for this, until we take these highs. There is still potential that we could come down deeper here, and I'm going to be watching this lower zone here. It would be quite nice to see a move down towards this 0.618, because this would be a retest of these lows over here. And then if we do come back lower down, obviously that 786 would be looking to potentially sweep these levels here, but we don't really want to lose this 157. But like I said, because this is possibly a wave 3, we'd have to be careful of this idea of, just a direct extension with a shallow retracement here. Now, the area that we'd be looking off of our current zone here would be this zone over here of this $2.04 if we're looking for this as a direct move down. If we come back down towards that golden pocket area, this would move this towards this 196 zone. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this idea here, of seeing this break to the upside as long as we stay above this 153. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we're currently underneath our central lines, which are sitting between this 169.2 to this 169.7. Now, if we fail to break back above these levels, what we could see is price could be gravitated down towards this 165. Other targets for today would be this 161, this 157, and this 153. Now, if we're looking to trend, I wouldn't really like to see us lose this S1 line here at this 165, and what I'd want to see is something like this. It's just a move down and then looking to break back above these central lines. If, however, we start to reverse from where we currently are, and we do move back above these central lines, other targets for today would be this 173.2, we have this 1773 and this 1809, as well as this higher target of this 1851. So if we start to look to trend, what I'd like to see is price getting back above this R1 line here, and then looking to move up from this level. Now, if we go ahead and move over here onto the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we have actually come from underneath these weekly pivots, and we are currently sitting within them. We did bounce off of the lower line here, and we've actually found support temporarily on the central line. If we see price continue to hold this level and we start to move back to the upside, the next thing I'd want to see if we're looking to trend is holding above this top line here at this 171. If we see price break back above here, hold this level, then potentially we could see a move up into this R1 line here at this 1763. Or alternatively, if we are going to look to trend in a bigger way here, potentially we could see price moving towards this 189.7 and this 197.9. Now, if we do see a move up into that zone, this would be confirming that idea of the breakout, in my opinion here, because we would be looking for that extension to the upside. Now, we always need to be aware there is possibility within this wave that there could be an extension later on here where this becomes 1-2. And what we could say is we could see something along these lines here where we actually managed to hold this level here of this 164.6, and then we look to see price push to the upside directly where this becomes 1-2, and then we look for this 1618 here at this 182 to confirm that this is in fact become a 5-wave structure here. And then what this would mean is that within this structure here, we've already started to extend out here. So potentially within the 5th wave in this case, where this would be 1, 2, 3, this would be 4, this would become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would actually be our 5th wave target higher up here at this 186. So going to be watching out for this idea. If we stay above these levels and we manage to hold these weekly CPR lines, we could start to see something like this as an additional push to the upside here, where either we look for this 1-to-1 here at this 176 or this area here, which would be far more bullish at this 182. Moving over and having a look at the monthly pivots here, what we can see is that we are currently underneath our monthly CPR lines. Now, this is not a good sign. We want to see price getting back above these if this move is going to start to trend. These are also lower than the previous month's CPR line, so this is giving us an initial bearish bias here. If we do see price looking to move back to the upside, I'm going to be very cautious around these lines between this 182.5, this 193, and this 198.1. If we do see price move back up into these levels in just a 3-wave move, this could align with still seeing some continuation to the downside here, where we could see this, where we could see price reject and either look to come back down to this S1 line here at this 1562, this 1376, or this 1003, which is going to be our targets for this month to the downside. If, however, we start to see price getting back above these lines, we can look to potentially target out the R1 line here at this $2.08. We have this 242 and this 261 as potential targets to the upside for this month. So going to be keeping an eye on this. Like I said, if we do hold this low, we complete this move to the upside, we get 3 waves down. Potentially we could start to see a move developing to the upside. Now if that move is just ABC, we could see something like this and then look for that rejection. Alternatively, we could see this as 1, 2, we get a bigger third, fourth, and a fifth, something like this, and then look for a retracement after that point and look to trend to the upside. Or alternatively, this could become 1, 2, we get another 1, 2 here, and then we start to have that third wave looking to develop from there. But we do need to also respect that fact that until we actually break back above these highs here, we do have that more bearish situation where we could just see a direct sell-off looking to target out some of these lower levels. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turned on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.